Hello and good morning, good afternoon, or good night wherever you are living and wherever you're seeing. अभी दोपहर हो रही है बट मैं जल्द से जल्द आना चाहता था क्योंकि मुझे आप लोग को एक चीज़ दिखानी है। आज शुरू हुआ टाटा स्टील चेस टूर्नामेंट जो इंडिया में होता है, टाटा स्टील चेस इंडिया। और इस टूर्नामेंट में ऑलरेडी बहुत बड़े बड़े प्लेयर्स खेल रहे हैं जैसे कि प्रज्ञानंदा, विदित विदित अर्जुन, मोस्ट विश्वनाथन आनंद, वेस्ली सो, हांस रीमन एसेट्रा, मतलब बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स हैं। बट हम स्पेशली आज बात करने आए हैं एक प्लेयर के बारे में। वो मेड द होल वर्ल्ड impressed again by his play today in his first match against Wesley So. That was Viswanathan Anand. He had a score of 95% of accuracy. That is incredible. And Vishy Anand is not even a kind of like an active player, मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा active नहीं है वो, मतलब he plays specific kind of tournament, but he plays tournaments. ज़्यादा मैं बकवास करूँगा नहीं क्योंकि वीडियो बहुत लेंदी हो जाएगा, तो लेट्स बिगिन. Vishy sir is playing white and Wesley So is playing black. Let's start. We start with e4, a very common opening. Replies with c6. That's the Karokan. नहीं, उस लेवल पे हम लोग एलियन गैम्बिट अभी तक तो किसी ने खेला नहीं है. यू नेवर नो, मैं ही हूँ शायद अगला जो खेलूंगा उसको. तो यहाँ पे हम d4 एज मेन लाइन गोज. यहाँ पे फिर d5 एंड एक हम इसके बाद विशी सर जो खेलते हैं विच इज e5. इसके बाद हम लोग ट्रांसपोज होते हैं कैरोकान डिफेंस एडवांस वेरिएशन में. इसका नेक्स्ट लाइन है बिशप f5. बिशप f5 है जो वेस्ली सो खेलते हैं विच इज द बेस्ट मूव. उसके बाद विशी सर प्लेज नाइट d2 विच इज ऑल्सो गुड मूव. द इंजन सेज दैट the engine says that bishop e2 was a better option there, but nevertheless, this is also okay. And then Wesley So replied with e6, which is the best move again. My arrows are not working. That's pretty. Mm, okay. Let's continue. Now we have knight suggested that he could have went knight e7, but it's the same thing. And then you go Vishy sir plays knight f knight f3. So far a very normal game, nothing very out of place. But चेस जो एक ऐसा गेम है ना जो पॉइंट पॉइंट पे डिफरेंट, मतलब गेम का फ्लो बदल देता है. अगर आप थोड़े एक दो मिस्टेक्स भी बनाते हो, एक दो भी बहुत ज्यादा बोल रहा हूँ मैं, अगर आप एक भी बनाते हो तो पूरा फ्लो बिगड़ जाएगा गेम का. इट्स लाइक चेस इज लाइक अ सिम्फनी. You have to play it perfectly. You can't make like blunders or even small mistakes in between. And this is what I like about chess. Chess is an art. Chess is not a game. Chess is an art, a beautiful art. अच्छा, anyway, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा बह जा रहा हूँ. हम कंटिन्यू करते हैं मैच को. बिशप e2 played by Vishy and goes c5, which is also the best move. Knight takes bishop, knight takes knight, and castle. The computer also had many other options as well, which let me remember was I think was, yeah, it was c3. Go c3, which wishes will go eventually, but not now. Castles. Goes knight e7 eventually. The computer wanted to do it before so that he could castle more quickly, but इसके बाद भी ज़्यादा कुछ पोजीशन पे फर्क पड़ा नहीं है. ऑलमोस्ट ड्रॉ है, थोड़ा सा एडवांटेज है विशी सर को, बट इट्स नॉट अ वेरी प्रोमिनेंट एडवांटेज. at least for players like us. Vishy goes knight d4, attacking the bishop. The bishop goes to e4, saving himself and making more opportunities. Goes bishop goes to e3. The counter also suggested for b3 because he wanted to develop the bishop here. Means he wanted to go this and then this, and this, and let him play if he's like this. Counter also wanted to play this, but this is also an overall good move. And the queen c7, and then goes f4. Ab computer also preferred more f3. I also prefer more f3 according to me, because after this the good square which is for the bishop is only g6, and that is not a very active square for the bishop, I think. But overall, perfect game. At this point both the players are averaging matlab proper accuracy. There are uh, no errors, no blunders. But just look at the time of Vishy sir and look at the time of Wesley So. That is incredible at such an age. He is the lightning kid and he will be always the lightning kid. Continues, we go c3, and yet now there's nothing very special. The computer wanted to play queen d4 here. Not very why he wanted to put pressure here by playing bishop f3 at some point, and then this pawn would be very hard to protect, and this piece is also attacked at some point. But this also works. Then goes castle. The computer preferred here to go h6, because there was no actually any hurry to castle. मतलब castle करने की कोई जरूरत थी, मतलब instantly you of course need to castle against Vishy Anand. That you have to castle against any grandmaster. Actually, you should castle against anyone. It's a good practice. मैं मेरे कोच ने कहा था कि until and unless queens are on board you should castle, and I think that वो सबके लिए अप्लाई होता है. फिर इसके बाद हमारा जाता है a5, which is the best move again, which is a finding best move, and has spent less than 30 seconds, yeah, less than 30 40 seconds in his clock, and here Wesley So is under 12 minutes. That is crazy performance by a guy who I think uh, was once pretty retired. I don't think Vishy Sir was completely retired from chess. If someone would ask me that मेरे हिसाब से कौन सबसे ज्यादा पैशनेट है चेस के बारे में, तो मैं सबसे पहला नाम मेरा आई थिंक विशी आनंद सर का ही लगेगा. दैट according to me, Vishy sir loves chess. Okay, and and you can just see it. He wants to win, he wants to play, which is incredible. You हाँ आप उसमें भी GCL ग्लोबल चेस लीग में देखो, he wanted to win, which is incredible at this age. It goes queen c6, Wesley So. Move. The counter also could have any other moves which didn't make a lot of difference. Now the game is completely draw yet. The rook f2, counter preferred it for this too. He goes bishop here, which is also good move. Trying to place this here, which he will eventually, and the knight back. Till now, complete normal game, कुछ भी खास नहीं हुआ है. But you have to just see the difference between West, a very young player. He's young, but the difference is amazing. It goes queen c7. Just ignore the triple marks. I just put it mistakenly. But I was just saying that this is also okay, and the counter also preferred queen d7, which doesn't really matter, but okay. And the bishop goes here. It's pretty good. Special for this move. This is why the computer wanted the queen to go to d7, but the bishop is also here, and now the queen can go to d7, or it can go to e7, which doesn't really matter. But e7 is the best move because it has some space. It has some space to come out eventually. Because sorry, rook b4. This shit is hard, by. Okay. He goes g5, fighting, takes, takes. Then goes g3, again a good move. Trying to place his bishop here. And then we goes rook c6, again a good move. It doesn't matter, and puts the bishop on g2 anyway. Now the knight goes back, which is the best move, attacking this pawn, and then it, Vishy So protects that pawn. Particularly, yeah, that's okay. He doesn't like it. He wants to go here because he wants to attack this pawn at some point by taking this, but yeah, it's okay. And then Vishy So protects it. He goes rook f to c8, trying to make some counterplay. The bishop goes back, completely giving up the pawn, but attacking this one. Goes rook g6 for protecting, and again threatening this threat of taking this pawn. But you can't actually take this pawn because then this pawn hangs. It's a completely, like, an art piece where you can't do anything, and perfectly everything is perfectly balanced until you try to disturb it. आप चेस गेम को अगर मेरे हिसाब से, मतलब मैं बहुत ज़्यादा ये लोग का हूँ नहीं, ऑफ कोर्स मैं इन लोगों के कंपैरिजन में अभी तक कुछ नहीं हूँ, ठीक है, बट मेरे हिसाब से चेस गेम जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा पेशेंस का होता है, एंड यू काइंड ऑफ कैन सी Wesley So lose some patience, or it was kind of under pressure. Goes, and sometimes wind is not your way, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. We goes f4. He goes Vishisha goes queen e2, making putting the queen on active square and threatening to take the bishop. The bishop takes bishop. The rook takes bishop, and the knight comes back to e6. Bishop goes back to b6. The king goes to g7. The computer preferred it to go there on h8, but it doesn't really matter. The queen goes to d3. The pawn comes forward, getting protected, but it still hangs, so it doesn't really matter. Which is her takes, and this is the changing point. This is where Wesley So completely lost the match. You might ask why. I don't see anything. Well, guess what? There is a sequence which Wesley So found under under 15 seconds. Under 15 seconds. I'm telling you, uh, that is incredible, because by taking this, it's a fork, but it's a reverse fork, because this rook is attacked and this knight is also attacked. Then it goes h3. The computer preferred that the goes to e6 again, protecting that and that. But then you lose this pawn and you lose this match. And goes king to f1. Completely best move. Vishy Anand sir, not making any mistakes, and rook to g8. That is not how I play, according to the computer. Then goes this, the best move. And let me say, this is not my anything. I'm not even 1% yet of that player, obviously. So, but he fumbled fumbled a lot. He's like only having 19 seconds on the clock, as you can see, and at this point we are very near to resignation. The king goes to h6. The bishop comes to e3 to give a check. The knight blocks. The pawn goes to h4. The computer also preferred taking this pawn. on g4, but it doesn't really matter. Knight, and so does Wesley So, and Vishy Anand secures his first win. This was an incredible match. Let me uh, tell me what you feel about who will win the Tata Steel Chess India 2026. My prediction is that this will be an old winner. I think Vishy Anand will take the trophy home this time because his form seems impressible on the first game at how much I have seen. But let me know in the comments and subscribe and like if you want to, because on this channel we just talk about chess. So yeah, until then, we'll meet again someday. Until then, goodbye.